friends. Welcome to Crafting Live with Ashley Falco on Tuesday. I know that I am new here on the Maker's Gonna Learn channel. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Ashley Falco. I have my own YouTube channel and I also have my own cardstock warehouse named Celebration Warehouse. But most importantly, through all of that, I'm actually really good friends with everyone over at the Maker's Gonna Learn team. Lauren, Tanner, Courtney, everyone over there, they're really truly one of my best friends, or all of them are really truly one of my best friends. And so I had this really great opportunity. Tanner wants me to do some crafts with you all. And so he had asked me to come out on the channel, do some lives. And here I am. This is my third one in the suite. We had the first one, we did a really cool koozie. The second one, we did some print and cut projects with custom faces. And today, what we're doing is like my specialty. This is what I am known for on my channel. And it is going to be using a laser cutter, which I know is something new with this channel, but also something I have never done on my channel is using a UV printer live. Normally, I just do recorded ones with a UV printer, but I am doing everything. Actually, I'm also quite certain I've never done a laser video or a laser live either. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So today what we are going to do is we are creating a really cool wood cut sign that's also UV printed with the X-Tool M2 and then also the brand new X-Tool Omni 01 UV printer. Now, the project that we are going to create is going to be pretty similar to something like this. I created this with the X-Tool. Oh no, my sign broke. I kind of feel like that movie in Aladdin where he was like, it doesn't break and then it breaks. It just broke. That stinks. Anyway, this sign was created with the X-Tool P3, which is the large CO2 machine, and then the Omni 01 UV printer. But today we're going to be using the M2 because I really love the M2. So we're going to create a sign like this, but what we're going to do is we are going to be using the brand new Maker's Gonna Learn Studio. They have a lot of really cool tools over there, one of which is going to be an SVG converter, which takes a PNG file and converts it over into an SVG file that you can use within a Cricut or even your X-Tool. If you have an X-Tool laser or UV printer, you can use it over there as well. So that's what I'm going to show you. I can't wait to demo this for you. When I was talking to Courtney about my projects for these lives, we were supposed to be doing, technically I was supposed to be doing HTV on a t-shirt, converting a PNG file into an SVG file and then doing HTV on a t-shirt. And I'm like, Courtney, I don't like weeding vinyl, but I love cutting on a laser and I love using my UV printer. She said, do whatever you want, Ashley. And so that is what we're doing today. We are doing that. Is this not an SVG workshop? It is. What we're going to do is we are going to take a PNG file and we're going to turn it into an SVG file with a click of a button. These new tools that Maker's Gonna Learn has, so easy to use. So really the SVG file, the workshop is just pressing a button. It's going to be so easy. And then at the end of the day, you're going to be able to create really cool, fun projects. Let's see here. Anybody else in the comments? We love having Ashley here crafting with us. Yay! Okay, so no one has any questions for me, which is great. But I do want you all to know that while I am not a familiar face here on this channel, I am very friendly. And I love gossiping about Tanner. So if you have any questions about anything, let me know in the comments because I want to talk about it. Listen, the job that I'm trying to do is just to get myself fired from his channel. I'm just joking. But really, I love gossiping about Tanner. So if you have any questions about anything, I know everything. So I am ready to chat with you all and also make. Okay. And I just want you to know that my channel, if you've ever seen anything about my channel, I don't do a whole lot of Cricut videos. So this is going to be new for a Maker's Gonna Learn because I'm all about lasers and I'm all about UV printers. And so I am so happy to be here with you today, showing you what I love most about crafting. That is laser crafting and UV printers. So for today's project, the things that you're going to need, I do have a roll of painter's tape on my desk. This is just in case. And I'll explain that when we go to the making of the sign, but not necessarily something that you need. I am also going to turn my laser cutter on and let that start up. Okay. Then what you're going to need is just a little piece of wood. This one right here, I think, is about like 12 inches by 12 inches. It will fit nicely inside the UV printer. It'll fit nicely also in the M2. I think this is a 3mm basswood plywood. Then you're going to need some project paneling. I also forgot to mention that all of the supplies I'm going to use are linked in the description of this video, but you're going to need one of these and then some glue. I have honestly fallen in love with Maker's Magic when I'm gluing wood. Now I do know that I just broke my sign, which is that I think was a manhandling issue. I've been using Maker's Magic, especially the matte stuff, to glue all of my wood and wood projects because it's so easy. So just some Maker Magic and a paintbrush will do you just fine. Okay. Otherwise, that is it. Supplies minimal. You will need though a UV printer and also an M2. Before we get into this more though, what I do want to talk about is the X-Tool M2 because this is a laser cutter, but it also has an inkjet printer on it. I don't have the module. I can see it, but I don't have it in my hands. So technically this right here could print on your wood. It technically could. The reason why I'm going to do something different and do the UV printer is because the UV printer can print white. So your prints are going to be more vibrant with a UV printer as opposed to using an inkjet module, which is what the M2 has. So if you do have an M2, but you don't have the UV printer, you still could create this project. The end results would just look a little bit different than the way that I'm going to show you. Okay. So first things first, what we're going to do is we are going to head over into the Maker's Going to Learn Studio. And what we're going to do is we are going to convert a PNG file over into a SVG file. So what you need to do is, let me just head over first. We'll go into the Maker's Going to Learn website just so you can all see it. This is the landing page. You want to make sure that you're logged in and you are going to come over here into your dashboard. Then in your dashboard, what you're going to do is you're going to come up here into the MGL Plus Design Tools, and you are going to open up the tools. This is where I was at right here in the first thing. So this is what I would love to call the MGL Studio, where they have a lot of really cool tools. And little sneak peek, a little birdie told me that we're going to be getting more tools soon. So just letting you know, there's some more in store. So what we're going to do, as opposed to in the previous lives that we've done together, where we have stayed over here in the generate, what we're going to do is we are going to go down into convert. And this is where you're going to take PNG or JPEG files, and you're going to instantly turn them into SVG files. This is going to be epic. This is epic. Claudia says, I only have the M1. Claudia, you could totally make this project as well. The M1 Ultra does also have a print head, and so you could do that there as well. So what you need to do is you need to find the PNG file or the JPEG file that you're going to use for today's project. So I'm going to open up my downloads folder because I actually have my logo from Celebration Warehouse. This is SVG. This was an SVG file. Where did it go? Did I not? I already downloaded that. Hold on. Let's wait. I gave myself the wrong one. Go into, sorry, my friends. Okay, just airdropped my PNG file. This is my logo right here, PNG. Let's just delete this because this is what we're going to make. This is the PNG file. So what you want to do is take your PNG file. This is my Celebration Warehouse cardstock warehouse logo. You honestly can do any PNG file if you wanted, okay? But I'm just going to use the one that I have, which is my cardstock shop, and I'm going to drag and drop it into the Maker's Going to Learn Studio. Now, the one thing that you have to remember about this studio, my particular, let me just blow this up real quick. Okay, my logo has a ivory-ish background. Okay, most of the time when we're dropping PNG files, most of the time they're white. Okay, my logo is a little different because it has ivory. I use ivory in a replacement of white. So automatically, when we look at this, you think ivory is a color, and then we have a dark pink as a color. We have this pink. Then we have like another color pink. Can everyone know that my favorite color is pink? All of my drawers are pink. My logo is pink. I love the color pink. Okay. So counting colors, because this is the next step into this SVG. You can see over here on the right-hand side where it says colors. So over here, we have to count the colors. Automatically, you see that the ivory is a color. And then we have one pink here, another pink, and then one more pink. So I have a total of 5 colors, okay? This down here, the Celebration Warehouse one, is actually the same colors up here. So technically, I have 5 colors. However, if you are looking at your PNG file and you're like, well, my background's white, technically white is a color. Remember that, okay? So if you have a white, make sure and count that as a color, but I have 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little dragging tool and I'm going to drag this over to 5. Once you do that, this is where the magic happens. We're going to take this PNG file. We're going to press convert to SVG, and within seconds, we got, what happened? 98%, 98%. Okay, there we go. Now, within seconds, and then a little one, we have our SVG file. So I'm going to zoom in on my trackpad. I have a Mac, and so I just have these trackpads. So I'm just going to zoom in to show you that there is going to be some cut lines that weren't there before. Now you can see it's hard. I can't really zoom. Let me zoom in. It's hard to zoom in real close, but it is going to be hard to see because white and ivory are so close together. You can see that there is some like inner pieces here. We're going to get rid of that when we go into the Xtool Studio, but we have an SVG file that now has cut lines, and you can see these cut lines. The blue is going to be all those cut lines. Woof! So we are done. We have created our SVG file within minutes. So the SVG workshop, Jeanette, when you were like, I thought this was an SVG workshop. SVG workshop became, we were here and we conquered. Done. Workshop finished because it's that easy. Okay. Now we get to go to the fun part, which is creating. So as a crafter myself, crafting should be frustration free. We really honestly should be able to get to the fun stuff. Fun stuff to me is like making, not doing any type of design. So I'm going to download my SVG file. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over into the Xtool Studio. So when it comes to the Xtool Studio, if you are going to be using the UV printer, so we're going to technically be doing a print then cut project, kind of like over at the Cricut, but not. We're going to be over in the Xtool. So it's really, really similar. These two things are really similar. However, what you have to tell the Xtool Studios is that we are going to be technically using 2 things, 2 machines. We're going to be using the Xtool Omni 01 UV printer, and then we are going to be using the M2. Let's see. Can we review the video after the live is over? Absolutely. It's going to be live for replay. So what you want to do, because we are using 2 different machines, is you want to come over here into new project. Now before, if you've had an Xtool before, you do know that this button used to just be a button. But now if you hurry up and click on it, it's going to open up a new tab. You don't want that, okay? Because we're using 2 machines. So what you want to do is hover over it, and you're going to see this multi-device mode. That is the one you want to click. When you click on that, this new box is going to pop up. We are going to be print and then cutting. Apparently, they're going to have more scenarios here. I'm not sure what the scenarios are because it's nothing to be clicked on just yet, but we want to come over here into the print then cut section. So we're going to do print then cut. We are going to press continue. And then this is where the fun part happens, okay? So hold on. All right, had a little thirst break there. Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to pick the machine that you want to use. If you're using the Omni 1, you compare it with all of these machines over here. So someone had said, Claudia said that she has only the M1. Look at the M1 you can use with the Omni UV printer. We're going to be using the M2 for today's project. You could also do the P2S, the S1, the P2, and then my big Bertha over here, my P3. I love her. She is the creme de la creme. But we are going to click on the M2. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you are going to press confirm, and this box is going to pop up. Now, I would like to mention that this feature is technically the beta mode. What beta means is that it still has some kinks to work out. Sometimes the workflow or things that you think should be different, it probably is going to be like that in a couple weeks, because technically this isn't like a live version. Okay. They're still making changes to it. So certain things like this workflow that I'm going to show you, I think that there needs to be improvement on how things work. So chances are, if you come back to this exact video in 2 months, the workflow may be a lot cleaner than what it is today, just because Xtool's constantly updating their software. And unlike Crickets, when Xtool updates their software, it's for the better, not for the worse. If anyone knows, they know. Okay. So at this point in time, what we want to do is we want to add in our SVG file. So I'm going to come over into my downloads. This is the SVG file that we've created over in the Maker's Gonna Learn Studio. So I'm just going to drag and drop this into the Xtool Studio. Awesome. Now there is going to be a little bit of edits that we have to do to this. First, we have to get rid of that ivory color that's right here because we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to press ungroup, and I'm going to find that ivory color. Oh, come on. Right click, press ungroup, click out, and I'm going to find that ivory color. Awesome. This ivory color, I'm just going to click and then drag. This we do not want. I don't want that. So I'm just going to delete. The other thing that I do not want in this project, only because it would take far too long for me to try and glue onto this piece of panel, is going to be my lettering for my cardstock shop. I really just want it to be these larger cutouts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click the bigger version, all of my letters. It's going to be all one thing. I'm going to double click, and I'm just going to delete the letters because I don't want them. All right. All right, would like to see how the print then cut works with the M1 Ultra since there is no camera. Well, I'm going to show you how the print then cut works, and you don't necessarily need a camera for this because it's all within the software, which is really cool. Okay, so now that I've deleted my lettering, I'm just going to press done. Okay, then what we're going to do is we actually right now only have a print file. We have all these pieces, but they're technically only a print file. So what we're going to do is we are actually going to make a copy of this because we need to make it also a cut file. So I'm going to select all of my pieces, and I'm going to copy and paste Command C, Command V if you're on a keyboard or a Mac. And I'm just going to drag this over here for right now, just so you can see this right here. What we want to do is we want to come and assign this device over into the M2. Then what we're going to do is we are going to press cut. All right. So this is what your cut lines are going to look like. So you should have a cut here and a print here at this point. But what we have to do now is we have to take our cut lines and we have to put them over on top of our printed picture. Okay, let's zoom in. You can see that my cut lines are not directly above where my print is. If you were to leave it like this, you are setting yourself up for failure at the very end of your project because the print is not even aligned with the cut. So this is very important. When you do this, you want to make sure that everything is lined up. So now it's definitely very difficult to see, right? Because the lines are exactly over all of the pieces. If you were to drag this over to the right, you can see that they're not overlapping. Okay, that is a problem. We want to make sure that everything is overlapping. Can you just right click and hit copy? You totally could. We could have right clicked, we could have done duplicate, you could have done copy and paste. If you're on a Windows computer, all of your keyboard shortcuts will also be right over here as well. You just want to make sure that the cut lines are directly above where we're printing. Make sure that this is very, very important, okay? So if everything is lined up perfectly, then we are good to go. Now, one thing that I do want to do just for alignment purposes later, you don't necessarily have to do this now, but it does help with the assembly when we go to put this on here. I want to make sure that my logo is like nice and center on this wood panel, right? How do you do that? You could eyeball it. That would be an easy way of doing it. Or I do know that this square right here is like 12, what is it? It is 12 inches by 12 inches. So this is a perfect square, which is going to fit perfectly in here. So how can I make sure that this is completely centered? And that's by helping myself out in the design process, which we're really not designing anything. We're just helping ourselves out, okay? So what we're gonna do is we are gonna come over here into this box and we're gonna add in a rectangle, make it any size right now, because then what we're gonna do is we are gonna ungroup this or like unlock this, and I'm gonna make this 12 by 12 just for right now, okay? Then I'm gonna lock this back up and I'm just gonna make this a tad bit smaller and I'm gonna add this into my logo. Oops, 12 inch by 12 inch. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the middle of my logo, kind of like this. Okay, whew. All right, hard to see, but it is in there, okay? Those black lines, that's gonna be, is this? Yeah, it's 12 by 12. So the black line is actually this right here. I'm gonna make this box just a little bit smaller because I need to cut the box out. Cutting the box is important, okay? So if this is exactly 12 inches, we have to cut something out. Trust me. I know that that makes no sense, but just trust me on this. Okay, so I'm going to actually make this box just a tad bit smaller. I'm going to make it 11 by 11. All right, make sure that this is nice and centered. If you wanted to, what you could do at this point is make what you're printing and cutting larger. So I am going to now select, this box. This box right here needs to be assigned to the M2. So I'm going to go to assign device and we're going to M2 it. And we're going to cut this. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of my pieces that I have here, deselect that box, and I'm going to make this larger. So I have both my print and my cut pieces selected. And I'm going to make this center inside my box. This is my box that's right here. It's this like small faint gray line. That right there is what I'm about ready to cut. But this is what I want my finished product to look like, something that looks like this. You want to make sure that your lines are overlapping. So like this line is not overlapping. So I'm going to take this, I'm just going to scoot it over just a little bit to make sure that it is all nice and lined up. See how this one right here is not overlapped? That is going to set me up for a miscut already. So you just want to make sure that all of your cuts are nice and lined up. Looks good. Awesome. Now what we're going to do is the fun part. Okay. Oh, actually, that's not true. We have one more thing we have to do. We have to click on the material settings. So let's come up here into the material settings. I'm going to be using the 3mm basswood plywood. So the 1/8 inch. So you click on it and just press apply. And the machine will automatically, when there's already something that's inside the system, it will already give you what should be printed. So for the printer, it is going to print 10 layers of white, 1 layer of color, and 1 layer of varnish. Foil stamping. I don't want a foil stamp. No, I'm not going to. I'm going to do matte. There we go. Okay. Then coming over here into the cut, we are going to cut this out and it already gives us predetermined settings. So we don't have to do anything more. Okay. But what we do need to do is now the fun part. We're going to come over here into step 2. Now this is where when the, like with the M1 Ultra where you don't need, you don't have a camera for it. The S1 also doesn't have a camera, but you don't necessarily need it because do you see these target marks here? These target marks is what your machine reads. So if you are used to a Cricut and we do print and cuts over on the Cricut. You know those little L brackets that get printed on your print and cut projects? That is essentially the same exact thing over at Xtool. Instead of L brackets, we got these little target marks that gets, there's always 3 of them, and they get printed on whatever you're using. If you're using wood, it prints on the wood, the acrylic, paper, whatever you want. Okay. But you have to print those out. Those are very important. So just like the Cricut doesn't have a camera, but it can still read the registration marks, and then miraculously it prints then, or it cuts, right? Same jazz. Okay. But what we're going to do now is we are going to head over into the Xtool Omni 01 UV printer. That is such like the longest and hardest name to say. Okay, so I'm going to press the button at the top of the machine. You won't be able to see it, it's cut off, but there is a button up here. You just press the button, it kind of wakes it up, but then eventually you're going to get a pretty little, come on, it's waking up. It's been sleeping all morning. All right, it's going to be like this cool little rainbow color. Press it again, and then your tray will pop out. This is honestly one of the funnest things about this thing is that the tray comes out. It's like, hello, I'm here. Okay, what we're going to do is we are going to use the large flatbed for today's project. This has some clamps down here, and you just want to clamp it into place, just like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece of wood, and we are going to put this into the machine, just like this. We're going to press it down, okay? Then what you're going to do is you're going to be in the studio, and you are going to connect to your device. So we're just going to come up here, and we're going to connect. Then what you're going to do is you're going to press scan. What that's doing is it's taking a live preview of what is inside the machine right now. So you're going to be able to see the bed move back and forth. It's just taking a picture of what's inside there right now. So then we're going to be able to properly align all of these, this entire piece onto the wood. Then you're going to be able to print and cut. It's going to be fabulous. You did see that I had to connect my machine. My machine is connected via Wi-Fi, or is it Wi-Fi? Is it USB? It's one of those two. There is nothing connected to my machine right now, which is great. You have to set it up once, connecting it into something, but outside of that, you don't have to connect it again, which I love. Awesome. So it's just scanning, it's reading the height, it's making sure that there's going to be a perfect print. Normally this takes about a minute, minute and a half. We should almost be done. I wish they gave you, like on the screen, I wish they gave you like how much longer it would take, like at what percentage are we done? I'm sure that's something that would happen eventually. Okay, come on. And I switched over into the screen share just so I can show you. Eventually you're going to get popped up something that looks, it's making me out to be a liar. It's like, no, normally it's a lot quicker than that. Okay, there we go. Here we are. This right here is our little screen. Okay, so this took a picture of what's inside my machine right now. Now, what you can do is you can take this and you can move this onto your piece of wood. We have to make this smaller because I cannot put these target marks on my piece of wood and have it print perfectly. If I print this top one, these bottom ones are not going to print right. If I come up here and it's not going to work. Okay, so what we're going to do, and this is kind of where I'm hoping that the workflow gets a little bit better, because I really wish I could resize right now, but I can't. What I have to do is come over here into return to design. Don't worry, your snapshot is not lost. That is a positive. But I'm going to select everything, and I'm just going to make it smaller because I want to make sure it fits on that piece of wood. Okay, with it resized, we're going to go to step 2. We still have our snapshot done, which is great. I'm just going to add this onto my piece of wood. Making sure, this is very important. Not only do you want to make sure that obviously what we're printing is all on your blank, but also those target markets, those 3 things are also on your blank. whatever you're printing, you want to make sure that everything is getting printed because those little target marks are crucial to the print and cut process. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to press process, and then we are going to press, this is an estimated time of 36 minutes. Holy cannoli. We're going to make this smaller. I would print this sign. I would print this sign if I was just by myself. But I mean, that's gonna 36 minutes is gonna be a really long time for me just standing on this live. So I'm just gonna make this a little bit smaller. We're going back. We're gonna make this smaller. Sorry, my friends. The end results will still look amazing, and I will still show you the full workflow. But whew, okay, we're gonna press step 2, making sure that this is all nice and center. And then we'll press process, making it smaller. We are now at 27 minutes. Hold on. I'm going back. I'm going to adjust some settings here. Let's do white and color. Okay. Okay. Awesome. We'll do 19 minutes. We're going to be here. We're going to be here. We're going to be chatting. You all have to make sure that you chat with me up because it is going to be 19 minutes of us sitting here waiting. So the print head needs to come up to a heated temperature. So what happens is with the print head, when it's in like a sleep mode, it dials down the temperature of which the printer needs to be at during printing. That is just for longevity and health reasons for the machine. However, to make sure that your printer ink prints properly, and then also cures properly, the print head has to come up into a higher temperature. So what it does is it's heating up. So right now I have the UV2, and for that, the first head is 79. Oh, I'm now at Fahrenheit. That's interesting. It was always at Celsius. But anyway, it was at 80 Celsius, but it was at 79 Fahrenheit here and then 80 here. But you can see that it's adjusting. When that is done, heating up, it will automatically start to print. So unlike the other UV printer that I have here in my craft room, it will, like, you have to come back, like once you do something, you have to come back and press a button or press the button at the screen. This will automatically start printing. So it will eventually get there. But anyway, get your questions ready for Ashley. Absolutely. Lauren's in the comments. She is watching this and from the office, and she is going to help me out with like getting these comments because we are going to be here for a while, my friends, just waiting for this thing to print. This is why, my friends, I have never done a UV print or a laser cut on live because they take a really long time to get these done. The end results look fire, but like the dead air that we're about ready to have is wild. Let's go into the Maker's Gonna Learn studio. Since no one has any questions for me or anything like that, we're just waiting for this thing to print. Let's go over into the Maker's Gonna Learn studio and let's convert something else. Just because we got time. Let's see. Do I have any other PNG files? Oh, I got this cute little reindeer face. I think of this reindeer face I got from Maker's Gonna Learn earlier. Okay, counting. Let's open this up. We'll count colors. Could you show them how to take the SVG file and show them how to get it in Design Space? Oh my gosh, this is so good. Okay, so we're going to take that same SVG file that we had. We're going to open up Cricut Design Space. Wow. Okay, there we go. I was like, well, it's not working either. Okay, we are going to open up a new project. I have to tell you, in Cricut Design Space, I used to use this new project button all the time, but this is not my favorite button anymore because then you press that button, then you have, let's pause because the printer is now heated up and it's starting to print. So you can see that the light is now bright white and like things are moving. You probably can hear it if I lean forward. Do you hear that? That is the printer starting to print. So it's about ready to do some things. Whoop, whoop. And actually, since we're here, let me just bump you up a little bit so you can watch it print. I really like this right here. This right here is clear, and also up top is clear, so you can watch the entire thing print. Unlike my other UV printer, you can't really see what's printing, and so you just gotta like hope and pray it all works out. But now this right here you can see, and I really, really, really like that. So cool. Okay, going back over, it does get a little loud in here with the UV printer. It's going to get louder in here when we use the laser. So just so you're aware. But to open up a new project in Cricut Design Space, my favorite button is this blank canvas button. It is like, it just takes you straight to a blank canvas, which I love. The other button, that new project button, you have to answer questions, and I'm not about ready to answer questions. Okay, so to upload the same SVG file that we had created earlier, so my cardstock warehouse logo, what we're going to do is we're going to press upload and then upload image, and then we're going to find that that SVG file that we created, and you're going to drag and drop it into the Cricut Design Space. It is going to look blurry, but that is okay, because when things get blurry, or even though it's blurry, when we save it, it will be fine. I am sorry. I can't think and talk at the same time, and this like noise over here has me confused. I'm like, oh my gosh. Normally when I have this printer printing, I just walk away because I can't think and talk at the same time or get distracted at the same time. Okay, so it is blurry. That's okay. You got to trust the process. We're going to press continue. You can rename this if you want, or you can just press upload. And then this right here is going to be our SVG file. So just like what we did over in the Xtool Creative Space, you want to open up your thing right here, and we are going to right click this, and we are going to press ungroup. Remember those little ivory cutouts that were left over the first time? They're still here, right? So we're going to find these and we're going to delete that, because this right here is now your SVG file. Now, the one thing about the difference between the Cricut Design Space and the Xtool Studio is remember when I said I wanted to get rid of that font? With the font, it was so easy to do it in the Xtool Studio. All I did was double click and delete some circles. Remember that? Over in Cricut, it's a little bit different. There's two ways to go about this. One way is to click on your layer, come down here to contour, and you would just click on the things you do not want. One thing that I wish that Cricut would improve on is letting us move this box out of the way, because it's kind of being hidden right here. But let me click this L. When you click this L behind it right here, this is going to disappear. Okay. So you could do that, and we can just click. It doesn't want to click the 8. Okay, there we go. This is not really my most favorite way of removing things because it does take so long. Also, did you see me struggle on trying to click that E? That's kind of annoying. Okay. So what I like to do for something like this is I actually like to insert a shape, and we'll just insert a rectangle. Okay. I like to take this and cover the things I don't want. Okay. And what we're going to do is we are going to press shift on our keyboard and select the layer that we are trying to like delete. All right. So that had my letters on it. We are going to press slice. Now I can delete this square, this letter, and these right here, and boom, we are done. Whew. A little bit longer of a workflow in Cricut Design Space than Xtool Studio. Xtool Studio is definitely a lot easier, but I love that we can do things still possible. It's just with a little bit of knowledge of how to do things a little bit different. Let's see, does anyone have any questions for me? If you only have the M2, what is the best sticker paper to use? Yvonne, I have never found any sticker paper for the M2 that would work well. Hold on, let me take a drink break. So I'll unshare my screen. Oh, wrong button. Hold on. You get a look. You get a look at the Excel printing here. Okay. So one thing to be very mindful of when it comes to your laser cutter, I don't want anyone to be steered away from purchasing a laser cutter because I love my laser cutters. I got multiples. There's one right here. That's the F2. We have the M2. We have the I'm sorry, F2, M2, F2 UV laser that I also have a big CO2, a P3 right here. I love owning a laser, but I want you to be very mindful if you've never owned a laser before, lasers are fire. And sometimes there are materials that we should not, NOT, should not be cutting in our lasers. One of which is going to be adhesives like sticker paper or vinyl. That is something that you have to be very careful of. Now, when you're purchasing blanks or things to use within your laser, the one thing that you have to be very mindful of is looking for laser safe. Not every, like leather, some leathers you can cut, some leathers you cannot cut. So you always want to make sure that when you're purchasing products to use with your laser, that they are laser safe. Now, because I have never tried, most vinyl sticker papers are not laser safe. Just want to put that out there. Okay. So Yvonne asked, what is the best sticker paper? Because I know that most, like a lot of laser papers, are not sticker safe or not laser safe. I just don't even try and cut it on my M2 just because I just know it's not really safe. I'd probably have to waste a lot of time trying to find the sticker paper. So I just don't even look for it. If I am going to create a sticker, my preferred method is creating the sticker in a UV printer. I was actually creating stickers yesterday with the X-Tool Omnio 1 UV printer, and they turned out so stinking good. I don't have any here on my desk. I wish I had one to show you because they turned out so good. But my preferred method to making a sticker is on the UV printer. The second preferred method is just going to be a print then cut with the Cricut, or actually even the Caesar machines, like the one you see up here. Those machines, I love doing print then cuts over there. Which X tool are you using? So right now I am using the Omni 01 UV printer. Then what we're going to do is we are going to use the X tool M2, which is this right here. Now the M2, since we are just sitting here waiting around, the M2 does also have an inkjet printer. And let me just show you the differences between what an inkjet will look like and not. Okay. So the X-Tool M2 has an inkjet printer module. Looks something like this. What's in here is a printer cartridge like this. Okay, so this has a CMYK printer cartridge. And it just fits right in here. And then you could put this into your M2 and print. So you could technically, the sign that we're making today, you could technically make it with the X-Tool M2. It would look a little different. And this is what the difference looks like. Okay. I'm going to show it to you on this screen just because it's nice up and close. So this right here was printed with the X-Tool M2 and looks fabulous. I love it. Okay. Nothing wrong with this entire thing. It's technically a cake topper. So I have a cake stick here. And this was printed with this module. So I used it to print. And then I cut it with the laser module, which is what we're going to use today, is the laser module. Now, while this is a really, really good project, one thing to note is see how it's not crispy, like the lines are not crispy in this piece of wood. That's because wood is very porous and the ink is water based and it's soaking into the wood, which is making it expand and kind of be a little hazy. It's really, the wood is just, you can most see it up in here, where it's just not a straight crispy line. Now I do not have a good apples to apples comparison for you, but this was printed with a UV printer and then cut with the X-Tool M2, which is exactly what we're doing today. We are printing something with a UV printer and then we're going to cut it with the X-Tool M2. So you can see with this one was printed with a UV printer, and all of those lines right there are so nice and crispy. And this was printed a couple months ago, and nothing is different about this. Eventually, what will happen is this, because wood is porous, the wood is going to absorb this ink and it's not going to be as bright. So the red, it was actually brighter a couple months ago when I did this, and now it's not as bright today. And it will continue to get not as bright, as opposed to a UV printer. It's going to be like this in 2 years. It's going to look exactly the same. The reason for that is you can see here, and remember when I was adjusting the settings, let me bump this up just so you can see a little bit more. Okay, over here at the printer, this UV printer, the printer is printing layers and layers of white. I think it said it was printing 10 layers of white, and it's curing as it prints. So we have a layer of white paint that's going down, and then it cures with a UV lamp. It already did the one. Now it's coming back and it's doing another. We're doing 10 layers of that, okay? Then eventually what it's going to do is it's going to do a layer of color. So right now all we can see is white, and that's okay because eventually we will get some color in here. But it's curing, and it's technically what the white is doing is it's acting like your primer. So just like when we prime pieces of wood or drywall, so before we add in the paint, because drywall is porous and we have to add primer to it to stop the pores from absorbing. This is the same type of idea, okay? So this right here is doing all the layers of white. How much more space, reduce margin using print than cut? Wow, that was worth the cost of admission. How to make more space, reduce margins in the print than cut? I'm not entirely sure how to answer that question. I really don't. There is ways that you can, if you can go, is it this? Yeah. Okay. So inside the print then cut, there are ways that you can make print then cuts larger. If you come up here into what would be your name, and then you drop down into settings, there is it's underneath. Oh, it's underneath load type. You can make your load type for your print then cut to be 11 by 17. So you could print 11 by 17. You could print 8.5 by 14. A3 is 11.7 by 16.5. So it's a little bit wider. For the bottom two, you will need a 24-inch cutting mat. But this is how you get the really big XL print then cuts, by just printing on larger pieces of paper. All right. Does anyone else have any questions for me? Come on. We have about, let me check. We got about 6 more minutes to go. So we have talked our way through all of this. This is amazing. Oh, one thing that I have found to be kind of interesting is coming over here to the X-Tool Studio software. So do you see this like green line? What I find is interesting is this green line is telling me that I'm almost done, which it's not like that with any other machine that I had. I initially thought it was where the head placement was, but it's not. It's telling me that we're over halfway complete on this print project, which I think is funny. And I also am kind of sad. It doesn't give me like it says the file transfer is 100%, but it doesn't give me like, I see that it says 5 minutes, but like a percentage. Where am I at? Am I at 20%? Am I not? Let's see here. MGL has a template as a file, and you can place everything you want in the print inside the template and then attach it together. Ooh. Okay, let me try and pull up. Let's see here. We're going to go back to Maker's Gonna Learn. Let's got signed out. Let's see. Would it be under? Oh, okay. So this right here, what you want to do is over in the Maker's Gonna Learn, they have the print and cut file. Thank you so much, Lauren, for helping me out. So this right here, this print and cut guide, if we download this, this is in the Maker's Gonna Learn. It's not in the studio, it's in their cut file. So if you're new to Maker's Gonna Learn and you don't know who or what Maker's Gonna Learn is, hi, I'm Ashley, I'm new here. But they have two things that are going on, like a bunch of things, but I'm just going to talk about two things. One is they have this new thing that is all of these tools, and I love to call it the Maker's Gonna Learn Studio because it's amazing, and there's a bunch of tools. So you can generate your own SVG files, your own PNG files. You can convert your SVG file or your PNG files over into SVG files, PNG to SVG, my gosh. Then you also can have a background mover. So if you have any type of pictures that you want to remove the background on, and also little birdie told me recently that there's going to be some more tools coming. Okay. So that is one portion of what Maker's Gonna Learn has. They also have a slew of tutorials, how-tos, courses, cut files, fonts, videos. I mean, the stuff that they have in here is wild. One of which was a question. Thank you, Lauren, for helping me out. Was how to increase the print margins on the print then cut. I didn't know that they had this. Honestly, I'm always finding something new. I know that this is like, where did that go? Right here. Hold on. This was also a Maker's Gonna Learn file that I just downloaded this morning. And I printed with this printer with this little guy right here, this little PNG file. Look at him. Ain't he so cute? This is the Maker's Gonna Learn file. They actually created this for me because, hello, I love Diet Coke. I mean, I'm drinking one right now. Look, we're twins. Okay. So anyways, they have this thing. It's called a print then cut guide. Did I already download this? Yes. Okay. I'm going to unzip it. Then, sorry, go over into the Cricut design space. I'm just going to do my load type as letter. Okay. We are going to upload an upload image, and we are going to drag and drop that SVG file into Cricut design space. Then what you're going to do is you're going to press continue. Rename this if you want, but you don't have to. I think that they named it perfectly fine. Press upload. So if you wanted to have, and we'll just upload, I'm going to upload these PNG files. These are what we created 2 weeks ago. So if you love me and you want to watch more, 2 weeks ago, we created these really cool straws using some of the tools that Maker's Gonna Learn has in the studio, okay? We created some really cool like custom straws using a picture of me. We also did added in a party hat. It was so much fun to make. Oh my gosh, this is an Ashley original file. It really is. This Diet Coke file is like 5, 6 years old. Oh my goodness. Anyway, we'll go back to this. So we created custom straws a couple weeks ago. So much fun and so easy. Okay. But let's say that we wanted to fill up our page. I'm going to delete this template just to show you. If we were to take this and I'm going to make it smaller, just like 2 inches, and let's just make a bunch of copies. Okay. We'll press make. The Cricut, now my Cricut is not turned on or plugged in, but the Cricut says that we technically only can get 6 on a page. No, that's wrong. 3, 6, 9. We can get 9 on a page. I need to learn how to count. So with this 9, right? Now, technically we could move things around, blah, blah, blah. That sounds like a lot of work. Or what we can do is we'll go cancel. We can upload in that template. Now with this template, I'm going to drag this. I'm going to send this to the back, arrange this to the back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to add in all of my pictures here to this little thing. Just going to add it all in. And this is how you kind of increase your margins, because now you know, oh, I'm going to put this picture here. I'm going to drag me down here. And we're just going to keep adding me in. And you are going to use this black box as your guide. Okay. So already, do I have 3? I have 6. Let me just put in my 9. We're just going to add in more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 9. All right. So already I have more. I have exactly the same. It was 9. And now I have room down here for more just by using this template. I'm going to show you what you do with this template after you're done filling it in. But just right now, and I think the UV printer is done. Woo-hoo. Okay. So I'm just going to add this in just like this. We're going to squeeze in as much of me as possible. I know no one wants a bunch of faces of me, so we ain't going to cut them out again. But just know, if you wanted to have a bunch of faces of me, you could, okay? With my entire box filled in, at this point in time, all you do is you just take this black thing and you delete it. You don't need it. And then you select your pieces here and you press attach or even flatten. And now, let me delete these. Okay. Now you come over here into make and ta-da, maybe, ta-da, you have a print and cut project that fits all in one little piece of paper. Remember, we only had 9, but we have a lot more of me on the thing, on the screen. That's because we use that little template. So that was a great little hacky hack. Lauren, thank you. Okay, going over into the UV printer right here. Awesome. So this is what the UV printer got done printing. Sadly, you didn't get to see the color laid down, but you did get to see the white. And now we have this. This is so good. All those layers of white, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but all those layers of white actually make it to where it's a little bit thicker on the piece of wood. Amazing. Looks so good. So good. Okay, these target marks are important. They're very key because they're going to help with the print and cut project. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we are going to head over into the M2. And this is kind of where the painter's tape comes into play. Okay. So with the painter's tape, hold on, sorry. So you're going to take your wood, we're going to open up your M2, and we are going to lay this down directly into the bed. What you want to do, optional on here, you can't see it. Let me drag you up closer just so you can see. Bring it up just like this. Okay. This piece of wood lays down flat. Okay. It does have a little bit of a bounce up here in the corner, but like everywhere else, it seems to be really flat. If your item is not flat, you need painter's tape because that is going to help with the cutting process. If your item is bowed, the machine is going to think your item is thicker than it is, and it's not going to cut good. It's not going to read the registration marks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a couple pieces of painter's tape and I'm going to put it in the corners. This just kind of pins it down to where it's not going to be like floppy on you. Okay. I'm just going to do all 4 corners. You don't have to do all 4 corners, but I like to do them just because then it holds all 4 corners down. So if there is any bow in my material, there is none because I'm pinning it down. Okay. So when we have that done, you want to make sure that the machine can read your registration marks. So don't put anything over the registration marks, right? We're going to go into, hold on, sorry. One more. And one more. Okay. We are going to go into the X-Tool Studio software. Now that this is done printing, it's interesting. It says the time remaining is at 3, but clearly we're done. So that was wrong. Let's just cancel. I've never processed. We're going to press process. Then eventually we're just going to proceed to skip because we already have our print. So we're just going to print it. Awesome. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to connect to our Xtool M2. And I'm going to skip this firmware update. Okay, I already have the machine on automatic mode. What that does is it starts the automation process. What you have to do to start the automation process is insert your piece of wood, which we've already done. Then what you're going to do, just come over here. Yeah, yeah. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to take your lid and you're going to shut the lid. What's going to happen is the machine is automatically going to start doing some automation. So you can see on the screen, things are changing. Let's see here. Images, top left. Hold on. Okay, looks like that top left right there has a little bit of an issue. So let me go back to here and let's see what we can fix. Oh, see this right here? I've covered that. So I'm going to uncover. I was only focused on the M2 target, the targets on my print then cut, and I should have been more focused on the machine's print then cut. So I'm going to take this. Okay, like that. We're going to do it like that. Then we're going to go back to here. We're going to just exit out of that. Then what we're going to do is we are going to come here and we're just going to close the lid. Automation process should start at this point. Yep, there we go. Okay, so you can see that this is moving. It's doing something. On my screen looks a little different. It's now taken a picture of what is inside my machine. Then what you're going to do is you're going to come up here now that that's done. Okay, the lines, you can see the lines are not where they're supposed to be. What you want to do is you want to press this auto alignment. What's going to happen now is the machine's going to go back and it's going to start reading those target markings. See how it's kind of like reading them? Now, over here. Okay, automatically, did you see what just happened? It went from not being aligned to now being aligned, like magic, like magic. I have the CO2 cutter on tech. If I bought again, I would buy an X12. No comment. I actually do have a comment. When I was looking at the OMTAC lasers, the one thing I didn't like is how much sales they done with very little support. So that was something that turned me off by them. Okay, so now that everything is nice and aligned, you can see that my print is printed, and then my lines are like over my print. We're going to get a fabulous print. It's going to be amazing. So we are going to press process. This is going to take a total of 10 minutes and 5 seconds to cut, so not that long. One thing to note, though, is that your laser does have fire, right? Laser does equal fire. It does create some sort of smoke. So then you're going to have to vent. I am using my air filter for today's project. If you don't have an air filter, use a window, but I am going to turn it on, so it is going to get kind of loud in here. At the software, what you want to do is you want to press the start button. And then at the front of the machine, right here, there's a button. What you want to do is just press that. Now, at this point in time, the machine is going to start cutting. We can just watch this cut. It's one of my favorite things to do is watch my laser cut and also watch my UV printer print. And it has gotten quite loud in here, I'm sure. Ooh, one thing that I do want to mention, sorry, let me go here. Okay, one thing I do want to mention is that earlier today, which is why I print then cut these little Diet Cokes, is because I realized that my machine was not in calibration. So in anticipation for today's live, what was I going to say? In anticipation for today's live, I knew I was going to be print then cutting with my M2. with the UV printer. And I hadn't done that yet. So I'm like, you know what? Let me make sure that everything is in alignment, which I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that I did because it was out of alignment. So what you want to do is make sure that your machine is in alignment first. How to get there is you would have to, if you're over here in the X tool, I'm just going to minimize this. We'll open up a new window. With the X tool M2, if you haven't already, what you want to do is use this little device setting and scroll down to calibration setting, and this camera positioning accuracy calibration, you want to make sure and do this. It took me about 15 minutes from start to finish to get this done, but the end results, I'm telling you, I could not get a good cut. And then I did do the calibration and I got the most perfect cut ever. So make sure if you do this project and your print and cuts are not they're not lining up and you have set everything up like they're supposed to, chances are it's probably the calibration on the machine is off. So make sure and do the calibration on that. It really, again, I think it only took me like 15 minutes, but I wish I had the other thing of it because it was pretty bad. It was really off. Oh, I got it stuck in my hair. Let's look at the laser because I mean, it's looking so good, and the cut lines are like perfect. The accuracy on this print and cut after doing the calibration is wild. And actually, since we're here, maybe I can just dig in the garbage for a second. Okay. So I'll show it to you on this screen right here. Okay. This is what my first print and cut was on my X-Tool M2. Not cute, right? That is so off. See how it's like, it seemed like it cut fine the left to right, but up and down, it's really off. Then when you do just spending that extra time to do the calibration, and I made it smaller, this right here is what the end results were. So if you have misaligned cuts and you're trying to do this print and cut project, start with the machine calibration first, because that did clearly a world of difference. We went from off to not off at all. I mean, the quality of that cut looks so good. It is 100% on. I do fear that I probably have to do the same with my P3 because my P3 is just a hair off. Just a hair. Not a whole lot, but it is like, it's not perfect. So it's almost done doing its cuts. For assembly, I know we've already talked about it. Some people use wood glue. I've been loving using Maker's Magic because it's super easy. Then all you want to do is grab a paintbrush to put it on. And that, my friends, is really it. Only these two things are needed to do to assemble this project. Love that. Mine would be a Coke Zero. You know, I have to tell you, I prefer my Coke, my Diet Cokes coming from a soda fountain at my local Circle K, and it's only one particular Circle K that's in my town. No other Circle K because they're dirty and they taste gross. Like they just don't clean it. There's one particular one that is super clean and I love it. But anyways, one time my husband, he went to go get me a soda and I asked him for one specifically. I was like, hey, while you're out, will you bring me home a Diet Coke? And he was like, yeah. So he came home and he gave it to me and I took a drink and he's staring at me. And I knew, I was like, there's something up here. I took a drink and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And he was like, well, they were out of Diet Coke. So I got you Coke Zero. And I was like, no Coke Zero. It was awful. I know that there's a taste bud for everyone and not everyone likes Diet Coke, but when you're used to Diet Coke, drinking anything else but a Diet Coke is just not it. I have canned Diet Coke. I am not a fan of canned Diet Cokes, but it's cheaper than buying a soda from Circle K every day. And actually, recently, my husband said you could drink 2 cans of Diet Coke a day and it would still be cheaper than your Circle K. I was giving myself only one a day, but since he had said that a couple weeks ago, I've been drinking 2. He said that wasn't a permission. And I was like, oh, it was for me. I don't know. I thought it was like 1 Coke, 1 can of Coke for one big gulp at Circle K, but it's not. He said it's 2. It's 2 for one, and it's still cheaper. He said that 3 it wouldn't be cheaper. Anyway, yeah, I have to have a Diet Coke with. Ooh, I haven't done a lemon. I used to do lime Diet Coke. Not the same. No, it is not the same. I think that Diet Coke Zero tastes like black licorice. Has like a black licorice. Matt just needs to get you an actual fountain thing for your house. Listen, it's going to happen one day. One day I will have a soda fountain in my house. And actually, this is where I'm going to put it, just so everyone's aware. Right outside my craft room, I have a printer. You can't see it, but I'm pointing to it. It's where I print all of my swatch books and stuff like that for my cardstock shop. It's like a little cove. I think that that would be a perfect spot for a soda fountain. Just a single one of Diet Coke. Nobody else needs anything else. Just one Diet Coke there in the corner. It'll be easy access for when I want to leave to go to the garage. If I want to come into my craft room, I can stop for a pit at my soda fountain. That would be cheaper. I'd probably make my money back real quick. But going back to this, we are almost done. We are about um, 2 more minutes left. Right now, what it's doing is it's just cutting out the box that that box that we're going to help align. I'm going to try a Diet Coke with lemon because I've always done Diet Coke with lime. And I know that they came out with a Diet Coke with lime, and that is just not the same. Diet Coke with a real lime as opposed to Diet Coke lime, 2 very different things. That seems too artificial, too artificial. This was then thoroughly thought on and must happen, it seems. Oh, I dream about a soda fountain every day, every day. I'm turning 40 this year, and it would be like a dream of mine to have that dang soda fountain in my house. It would. No, it has to be a fresh lemon or a fresh lime. Yes. Like I've never had lemon, but I do know that there is a very big difference between Diet Coke with a lemon or with a lime and Diet Coke lime. 2 very different things. Awesome. So we are almost done. What do we got? What do we got? So we're at 37 seconds left. And I feel like it's just taking its sweet old time to get to the 37. Oh, we're almost done. Woohoo. And then we can turn this dang fan on. It would not be if you were using Donnell. It has entered the chat. Have you looked into a soda stream? I have. I actually have one, and it is not the same. Not the same. Okay, so the X tool is done. I'm going to turn off my laser. I have to tell you, and this is something that I was going to say. If you were venting out of a window, it would have been significantly quieter in this room. The fan is what makes the biggest noise out of all of this. See how nice and quiet it is? It would probably just be a little bit more quieter or a little bit louder, a little bit more louder in here. Is that even a thing? Anyways, it would just be a little bit louder. Not like I felt like I was screaming at you with this thing on. Did it feel that way? Was it loud for you? You let me know. But anyway, this is done. We'll go back to the M2. So in the M2, we're just going to open the lid and everything is going to be cut out because we did good settings. We taped everything down. We're going to open this up. And this is, you want to keep this. We're going to keep this. We're going to hold on to this. Okay. But Oh, actually, I'm lying. This right here, we're not going to keep. We're going to throw this part away. But this is what we're going to keep, our box. Our box is right here, okay? Then we have all of our pieces that got cut out, and they're cut out like the accuracy, 100% print and cut accuracy. I've never seen anything like this. My gosh, I fear that I have to do this in the P3 as well because my P3 was off just a little bit the other day. And I think that's what it is. I think that's exactly what it is. Okay, so let me close this lid. Oh, starting the automation process. What we're going to do is I'm just going to reset this camera. I need a third camera. When I do laser projects, I need a third or UV flash laser because there's too many things going on. So you're here at my craft desk. You were at the laser, but now you're here in the craft desk. Oh, you only could hear me. That's good. Honestly, that is so good because it was so loud in here. It's quite frustrating to do live. My throat hurts now because I felt like I was screaming at you. Okay, so we're gonna open this up. This right here is what we cut out. That was that box, right? Very important. Let me move all this stuff out. Okay. I buy my husband things that I want for the holidays. I think you should buy your soda fountain for Christmas. Nancy, soda fountains are very tricky, and they're really tricky to set up. They're not that easy. Thankfully, my husband used to work in the restaurant industry, so he knows how to set this up. So really, I'm just at the mercy of my husband. I'm really just at the mercy of him, waiting for him to buy it for me because there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of setup. He said I have to have plumbing and electrical, so it's trust me. When I want something, I just buy it for myself. But this soda machine thing is a little bit more of a heftier thing that I do not have the capacity of. Okay, so but I love your thought process. I do. Okay, so over here at the craft desk, this box that we created, remember this was important to help with the lining. Obviously, I've made it smaller because for time purposes, I didn't want to stand there waiting for that thing to print for 40 minutes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to make this box perfectly in the center. So we got, let's see here, 2 and 2 ticks here. We only have less than 2 here. So I need to drag this over to the left just a little bit. We got 2 here. And, oh, I went too far. Here we go. 2 and 1 tick. 2 and 1 tick. Good enough. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to do 2 and 1 tick. 2 and 1 tick. Wow, I don't know how I did that on the bottoms, but whoop. Okay. Then to help make sure that this doesn't move around on me, I'm going to take some poster putty and I'm just going to tack this down. Awesome. Just like this. You're going to remove the poster putty and also your guide, but it is going to help you with adding in all of these pieces. So I'm going to bring all my pieces in here. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we are going to add in, hold on. Okay. So I'm going to take my Maker's Magic. I'm going to take my paintbrush. I'm just going to dip into my Maker's Magic. I'm going to get some glue and I'm going to paint the back of my piece of wood. And I'm just going to do the larger piece right now. Okay. Then we're going to add this into our guide. Okay. Ooh, I need to invest in some of that poster putty. The poster putty helps so easy. It's amazing. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we are going to add in, I'm going to do my top piece. I'm using my own logo as reference to make sure I put the pieces in where they're supposed to. Okay, put that in here. The next piece will be this one. Yep. It's like a puzzle. I'm particularly, whoa, that was really hard to say. I am using the matte version of the Maker's Magic. The reason for that is because do you see how sloppy I am with this paint? I do not have time to sit here and make sure that everything looks good. My wood, my final sign is matte. Had it been glossy, I would have chosen the Maker's Magic glossy. But because my wood is matte, I'm just going to use the matte because it's going to dry the same type of finish. And I don't want, because I'm being so sloppy with this wood, I did it the same with the Christmas one too. Because I'm so sloppy with the wood, it's just going to make sure that everything dries in the same type of finish. Okay. So we have everything glued down. I'm just going to do one final push down here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your poster putty off. Then you're going to before it dries, because we were kind of messy with the glue. You do not want the glue to dry on this thing, because this ain't cute. So we're going to just nice and easy, we're going to pull up our guide. Okay. And even though this is a small sign with a small sign cutout, I have to say, whoop, this one right here. Yes. Hello. Hold on. And we're back. Okay, so even with the small sign cutouts, look, how cute is this? Come on now. And if anyone knows anything about me, there are two things that I don't like to do. One is cut and weed vinyl or HTV. The second is paint anything. If I have to sit here and wait for paint to dry, I would much rather have stood here for 40 minutes waiting for that UV printer to get done printing than to paint anything. That is for sure. So no brush strokes in here. Everything looks amazing. And we are done. So while it looks so good. Lauren said it looks good. No, it really does look good. Professionally made. And while the cutouts are a little bit small, I actually kind of think I like it like this, a little bit smaller. Like this looks good. Yeah. So in total, this sign took 20 minutes to print, 19 minutes to print, and then 10 minutes to cut. So it's 29 minutes for something like this. It took us 20 seconds, if that, to load in the SVG file or the PNG file to an SVG file. Like it did not take that. The tools, Maker's going to learn tools, only took like a couple seconds, 20 seconds, I would say, because it did sit there at like 98% for like a couple seconds. But regardless, in like 30 minutes, we have a sign that looks professionally made. And we're just crafters, my friend. But like, this looks so good. And I get to keep it forever. I love it. Oh my goodness. Okay. So how many of you all are convinced that you need a UV printer in your craft room and or a laser? How many? I want to know because I'm so curious. I honestly, when I got my very first laser, I knew that we would just like open up the crafting doors for me. And ever since I got my very first one, I have been addicted to them. You get one, and I'm telling you, you're gonna like, oh, what else can I create? And you just like keep adding more and more to your craft room, and then you get a UV printer because like for as long as I can remember, when I got my first laser cutter, like within the week, I was like, wait, but I wanted to create things like this. You can't create this with a laser. So like, what is it that you need? You know how like a Cricut and an inkjet printer are like best friends and they go hand in hand? A UV printer with a laser are like best friends and they go hand in hand because you can do things like this or even the cake toppers, wherever they're at. Yep. We can do this with our UV printer and our lasers. We can do stir sticks, wedding signs, all the signages that you want, household decor, print on tumblers and glasses and make your own stickers and never have to use a Cricut. That's good with me. I like that. I love being able to use my lasers and my UV printers, but my goodness, I am convinced that we need one here in the studio that doesn't get clogged. Well, Maybe you have to look into the Omni more. But mine's clogged as right now as well. Awesome. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I had so much fun hanging out with you. If you love hanging out with me and you want to see me some more, you want to put in the comments to Tanner, because technically this is my last live with y'all. He said to do 3, and we are now on the 3rd one. So if you want to see me more, you're going to need to put in the comments that we need more Ashley, and he'll read them. He'll see it. So let him know. But thank you again so much for allowing me to craft with you today. And y'all, I will see you hopefully soon.